EV rain alert in Uttar Pradesh. 3. Z crackdown on food adulteration. 3. Z semiconductor facility in UP. 4. ZUP and MP collaborate on 8 GW solar power projects. 6. Z 97% SC atrocities from 13 states. 6. Z flooding in Saryu River. 7. Z madrasas education. 8. Z economic trajectory. 9. Z Ganga crosses warning mark in Kashi. 10. Z bulldozer justice. 11. Z Atal residential schools. 12. Z near court awards life imprisonment in conversion case. 12. ZUP aims for investment in secure data storage. 13. Z Govind Ballabh Pant. 14. Z Gorakhpur Sainik School inaugurated. 15. ZUP boosts football development. 15. Z Operation Bheriya. 16. Z Model Solar Village. 17 State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024 3. Note: www.drishtias.com. Heavy rain alert in Uttar Pradesh. Why in news? The Indian Meteorological Department (IMD) has issued an important weather warning for Uttar Pradesh, placing various districts under yellow and orange alerts. 3/4 This alert is primarily due to a low pressure area over the northwest Bay of Bengal, which has intensified into a cyclonic circulation currently affecting Uttar Pradesh. Key points: 3/4 districts under heavy rain alert. A total of 24 districts are under heavy rain alert. These include Banda, Chitrakoot, Kaushambi, Prayagraj, Deoria, Gorakhpur, Bahraich, Lakhimpur Kheri, Sitapur, Ayodhya, Ambedkar Nagar, Jalon, Hamirpur, Mahoba, Jhansi, Lalitpur. In these districts, the IMD has issued a yellow alert, indicating the possibility of heavy rainfall. 3/4 districts under very heavy rain alert. 8 districts are under an orange alert for very heavy rainfall. These districts are Sant Kabir Nagar, Basti, Kushinagar, Maharajganj, Siddharthnagar, Gonda, Balrampur, Shravasti. Residents in these areas should be prepared for extremely heavy rainfall and potential disruptions. Color-coded weather warning 3/4 It is issued by the IMD, whose objective is to alert people ahead of severe or hazardous weather which has the potential to cause damage, widespread disruption or danger to life. 3/4 The IMD uses 4 color codes are: green, all is well, no advisory is issued. Yellow, be aware, yellow indicates severely bad weather spanning across several days. It also suggests that the weather could change for the worse, causing disruption in day-to-day activities. Orange, amber, be prepared. The orange alert is issued as a warning of extremely bad weather with the potential of disruption in commute with road and rail closures, and interruption of power supply. Red, take action, when the extremely bad weather conditions are certainly going to disrupt travel and power and have significant risk to life, the red alert is issued. 3/4 These alerts are universal in nature and are also issued during floods, depending on the amount of water rising above land, in a river as a result of torrential rainfall. For instance, when the water in a river is above normal level, or between the warning and danger levels, a yellow alert is issued. Crackdown on food adulteration. Why in news? Recently, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister issued new directives to combat food adulteration in the state. Key points: 3/4 display of proprietors' names. All restaurants and eateries must prominently display the names and addresses of their operators, proprietors, managers, and other key staff. The move is aimed at ensuring transparency and accountability in food establishments. 3/4 Amendment to Food Safety Act. Amendments to the Food Safety and Standards Act, 2006 will be made to enforce compliance with the new display rules. A statewide verification campaign will be conducted, involving the Food Safety and Drug Administration, police, and local administration. 4 State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024. Note: www.drishtias.com. 3/4 Mandatory CCTV installation. All eateries, hotels, and dhabas must install CCTV cameras covering both dining areas and other sections of the establishment. Operators are responsible for securely storing CCTV footage and providing it to law enforcement upon request. 3/4 Public health and hygiene. The directives are part of the state's response to food adulteration cases where human waste and other contaminants were found in food. Strict hygiene practices will be enforced, including mandatory use of masks and gloves for all food preparation and serving staff. FSSAI. 3/4 The Food Safety and Standards Act, FSSAI, established in 2006, serves as India's primary legislation for regulating food safety. It sets standards for food products and oversees their manufacture, storage, distribution, sale, and import. The Act aims to ensure the availability of safe and wholesome food for consumers. 3/4 Key features of the FSSAI Act, 2006, Unified Food Laws. It consolidates multiple food laws into one unified system, establishing clear standards for food safety and quality. Powers to state governments. The Act allows state governments to frame rules and take measures to regulate food safety at the local level, such as conducting inspections, ensuring compliance, and initiating actions against violations. Food Safety Authority. The Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, FSSAI, was created under this Act to set food standards, conduct food safety audits, and promote safe food practices. 3/4 The Act empowers both central and state authorities to maintain strict vigilance on food safety and take action in case of non-compliance, such as the recent directives issued by Uttar Pradesh to address food adulteration concerns. Semiconductor facility in UP. Why in news? Recently, it was announced that Uttar Pradesh is set to have its first semiconductor manufacturing unit, marking a significant development in India's tech sector and positioning the state as a critical player in the country's digital transformation. Key points. 3/4 India-US Semiconductor Partnership. The announcement follows a Memorandum of Understanding (MoU) signed between India and the US to collaborate on chip manufacturing. The India-US partnership in semiconductor development will have a far-reaching impact on India's technological advancements. 3/4 Importance for digital transformation. Semiconductors are critical for India's digital transformation goals and will become increasingly visible in daily life. This development is part of a broader initiative to leverage technology for India's progress, extending its benefits to rural and interior areas. 3/4 Cybersecurity focus. The semiconductor industry is also seen as crucial for strengthening cybersecurity, given the shift in warfare from physical attacks to the cyber realm. 3/4 Economic impact. The establishment of this facility will contribute to macroeconomic growth, with India's economy being described as resilient and on a strong growth trajectory. The Indo-US bilateral ties are now mutually beneficial, contributing to India's ongoing economic development. State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024 5. Note. www.drishti.is.com 6 State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024. Note. www.drishti.is.com. UP and MP collaborate on 8 GW solar power projects. Why in news? Recently, Madhya Pradesh, MP, and Uttar Pradesh, UP, governments have partnered to develop 8 GW (GW) of solar power plants, marking a significant first-of-its-kind renewable energy collaboration between two Indian states. Key points. 3/4 Collaboration overview. The power generated will be shared between the two states, alternating every 6 months, aligning with their respective peak demand seasons. Madhya Pradesh. Peak demand occurs from October to March, coinciding with the Rabi crop season. Uttar Pradesh. Peak demand occurs between April and September, aligning with the Kharif crop season. Solar power will be distributed based on these seasonal demand patterns. 3/4 Project phases and development. In the first phase, a 2 GW project will be developed, with Morena, MP, identified as a possible site. 3/4 State renewable energy goals. Madhya Pradesh aims to achieve 20 GW of renewable energy capacity by 2030, up from its current 9 GW. Uttar Pradesh targets 22 GW of solar capacity by 2026-27, up from its current 6.8 GW. 97% SC atrocities from 13 states. Why in news? Recently, a government report revealed that 97.7% of atrocities against scheduled castes (SCs) in 2022 were concentrated in 13 states, with Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Madhya Pradesh recording the highest number of such cases. Key points: 3/4 atrocities against scheduled castes (SCs) in 2022 is to 97.7% of all atrocities against SCs. 51,656 out of 52,866 cases were reported from 13 states. Uttar Pradesh reported the highest number of cases, 12,287 at 23.78%. 3/4 atrocities against scheduled tribes (STs) in 2022 is to 98.91% of all atrocities against STs were reported from 13 states, 9,735 cases total. Madhya Pradesh had the highest number of cases, 2,979 or 30.61%. Rajasthan followed with 2,498 cases, 25.66%, and Odisha recorded 773 cases, 7.94%. 3/4 conviction rate. The conviction rate for cases under the SC/ST Act, 1989 declined to 32.4% in 2022, down from 39.2% in 2020. 3/4 SC/ST protection measures. SC/ST protection cells have been set up in states like Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Gujarat, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and others. Special police stations for handling SC/ST offences are established in Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Kerala, and Madhya Pradesh. State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024 7. Note: www.drishtias.com. Scheduled Castes and the Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act, 1989. 3/4 SC/ST Act, 1989 is an Act of Parliament enacted to prohibit discrimination against SC and ST communities members and prevent atrocities against them. 3/4 The Act is also a recognition of the depressing reality that despite undertaking several measures, the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes continue to be subjected to various atrocities at the hands of upper castes. 3/4 The Act has been enacted keeping in view the express constitutional safeguards enumerated in Articles 15, Prohibition of Discrimination, 17, Abolition of Untouchability, and 21, Protection of Life and Personal Liberty, of the Constitution, with a twin-fold objective of protecting the members of these vulnerable communities as well as to provide relief and rehabilitation to the victims of caste-based atrocities. 3/4 In the amended SC/ST Act, 2018 preliminary inquiry is not a must and no prior approval is also required for appointing authorities for senior police officers to file FIRs in cases of atrocities on SC and Saint. Flooding in Saryu River. Why in news? Recently, flooding in the Saryu River caused severe disruptions in Uttar Pradesh's Ballia district, affecting transportation and local communities. Key points: 3/4 Saryu River. The Saryu is a river that flows through Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. This river is of ancient significance as it is mentioned in the Vedas and the Ramayana. The river is formed at the confluence of rivers Karnali and Mahakali. It is a tributary of river Ganges. 3/4 Ballia district. Ballia is located in the extreme northeastern part of Uttar Pradesh, bordered by Mao, Deoria, Bihar, and Gazipur, and lies at the confluence of the Ganges and Ghagra rivers. The city is 135 kilometers away from Varanasi, with the Ganges separating Ballia from Bihar, and the Ghagra separating it from Deoria. One belief is that the city is named after the sage Valmiki, who is thought to have resided there, though his shrine no longer exists. Another belief links the name to the local soil, Balua, sandy soil, with the city's original name being Baliyan, later transformed into Ballia. 8th State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024. Note: www.drishtias.com. Madrasas Education. Why in news? Recently, the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, NCPCR, highlighted concerns about madrasa education in India, citing non-compliance with the Right to Education Act, 2009. Key points: 3/4 NCPCR concerns. NCPCR informed the Supreme Court that madrasa education is not comprehensive and does not comply with the Right to Education Act, RTE, 2009 provisions. Textbooks used in madrasas reportedly promote the supremacy of Islam, conflicting with secular educational principles and RTE requirements. 3/4 High Court ruling. The Allahabad High Court declared the Uttar Pradesh Board of Madrasa Education Act, 2004, unconstitutional. The act was found to violate the principle of secularism and fundamental rights under Article 14 of the Constitution. 3/4 Madrasas. Madrasa is an Arabic word for an educational institution. Initially, mosques served as educational institutions in early Islam, but by the 10th century, madrasas evolved into distinct entities for both religious and secular learning in the Islamic world. The earliest madrasas were found in Khorasan and Transoxania, modern eastern and northern Iran, Central Asia, and Afghanistan, with larger institutions providing housing for students, especially those from poor backgrounds. As of 2018-19, India had 24,010 madrasas, 19,132 recognized and 4,878 unrecognized. Recognized madrasas are under state boards. Unrecognized ones follow curricula from major seminaries like Darul Uloom Nadwatul Ulema and Darul Uloom Deoband. Uttar Pradesh has 60% of the country's madrasas. 11,621 recognized and 2,907 unrecognized madrasas. 3/4 Categories of madrasas in India. Madrasa Darse-Nizami, operated as public charities and are not required to follow state school education curricula. Madrasa Darse-Alia, affiliated with state madrasa education boards, e.g., Uttar Pradesh Board of Madrasa Education. Z governed by state governments, with teachers and officials appointed by them. Z approximately 1.69 lakh students appeared for UP Madrasa board exams, equivalent to class 10 and class 12, in 2023. 3/4 Funding for madrasas. Bulk of the funding comes from respective state governments. Central Government Scheme for providing education to madrasas, minorities, SPEMM, provides financial assistance to madrasas and minority institutions. Z sub-schemes under SPEMM. Scheme for providing quality education in madrasas, SPQEM. Infrastructure Development of Minority Institutes, IDMI. SPEMM was transferred from the Ministry of Minority Affairs to the Ministry of Education in April 2021. National Commission for Protection of Child Rights 3/4 NCPCR is a statutory body set up in March 2007 under the Commissions for Protection of Child Rights, CPCR, Act, 2005. 3/4 It is under the administrative control of the Ministry of Women and Child Development. 3/4 The Commission's mandate is to ensure that all laws, policies, programs, and administrative mechanisms are in consonance with the child rights perspective as enshrined in the Constitution of India and also the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. 3/4 It inquiries into complaints relating to a child's right to free and compulsory education under the Right to Education Act, 2009. 3/4 It monitors the implementation of the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences, POCSO, Act, 2012. State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024 9. Note. www.drishtias.com. Economic Trajectory. Why in news? Recently, the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, EACPM, report revealed the economic dominance of 5 states in India during the 1960s. Key points: 3/4 in the 1960s, 5 states, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, and Bihar, accounted for approximately 54% of India's gross domestic product, GDP. 3/4 Uttar Pradesh, then undivided, was the largest economic contributor among these states, contributing 14.4% of India's total GDP. 3/4 Uttar Pradesh's economy, gross state domestic product, GSDP, growth, Z in 2022-23, Uttar Pradesh's GSDP, at constant prices, grew by 8.3%, down from 10.2% in 2021-22. Z national GDP is estimated to grow at 7.2% in 2022-23. Sectoral growth. Z agriculture sector grew by 10% in 2022-23 at current prices compared to 14% in 2021-22. Growth in 2021-22 was over low base. Z manufacturing sector grew by 22% in 2022-23. Z services sector grew by 12% in 2022-23. Z contributions to the economy at constant prices: agriculture 24%, manufacturing 30%, services 46%. Per capita GSDP, Z estimated at 96,193 rupees in 2022-23 at current prices, with an annual growth of 8% since 2017-18. 3 quarters the GSDP growth rates at constant prices of 2011-12 were 4.7%, 2012-13, 5.8%, 2013-14, 4.0%, 2014-15, 8.8%, 2015-16, 11.4%, 2016-17, 4.6%, 2017-18, 6.3%, 2018-19, 3.8%, 2019-20, -5.5%, 2020-21, and 4.2%, 2021-22. 3 quarters share of UP in national GDP. The share of Uttar Pradesh, UP, in the national GDP is either constant or declining. For a $1 trillion economy, UP's share should increase to 20%. The GDP of India at current prices increased from Rs. 153.92 lakh crore in 2016-17 to Rs. 236.64 lakh crore in 2021-22. The share of Uttar Pradesh, UP, in India's GDP declined from 8.4% in 2016-17 to 7.9% in 2021-22. 3 quarters widening per capita income gap. The gap between per capita income of India and UP has widened over the years. In 2011-12, UP's per capita income was about 50% of India's, but by 2021-22, it had decreased to 45.87%. This indicates that UP has not kept pace with national economic growth. 3 quarters the projected GSDP in 2026-27 under alternative growth scenarios arranged in points: very high, CAGR equals 20%, Rs. 42.5 lakh crore; high, CAGR equals 15%, Rs. 35.8 lakh crore; moderate, CAGR equals 12%, Rs. 32.2 lakh crore; normal, CAGR equals 10%, Rs. 30 lakh crore. Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. EACPM. 3 quarters it is a non-constitutional, non-statutory, independent body constituted to give advice on economic and related issues to the Government of India, specifically to the Prime Minister. 10 State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024. Note: www.drishtias.com. 3 quarters the Council serves to highlight key economic issues to the Government of India from a neutral viewpoint. It advises the Prime Minister on economic issues like inflation, microfinance, and industrial output. 3 quarters for administrative, logistic, planning and budgeting purposes, the Niti Aayog serves as the nodal agency for the EACPM. 3 quarters periodic reports, annual economic outlook. Review of the economy. Ganga crosses warning mark in Kashi. Why in news? The Ganga River in Varanasi has surpassed the warning level, causing significant flooding and affecting over 4,000 residents in the region. 3 quarters the water level rose to 70.76 meters, surpassing the warning threshold of 70.26 meters. Increasing at a rate of 5 centimeters per hour. Key points: 3 quarters impact on residents, affected population. A total of 4,461 people have been impacted by the floods. Several low-lying areas in the district are now submerged, forcing residents to use boats for commuting. Relocation. Families from Mokulpur affected by erosion have been relocated to relief camps. Additionally, 1,601 people from 299 families are currently residing in these camps. 3 quarters relief measures. Flood relief camps. The district administration has set up 46 flood relief camps, with 14 currently operational. These camps provide essential supplies such as food, fruits, milk, and drinking water. Medical camps have also been established to offer healthcare services. Rescue operations. A total of 22 boats have been deployed for rescue operations. Teams from the National Disaster Response Force, NDRF, are actively involved in relief efforts using motorboats. Ganga River System 3/4 The Ganga originates as Bhagirathi from Gangotri Glacier, Uttarakhand at an elevation of 3,892 meters. 3/4 Many small streams comprise the headwaters of the Ganga. The important among these are Alaknanda, Dhauliganga, Pinda, Mandakini and Bhilagana. At Devprayag, where Alaknanda joins Bhagirathi, the river acquires the name Ganga. It traverses 2,525 kilometers before flowing into the Bay of Bengal. 3/4 The Ganga is formed from the 6 head streams and their 5 confluences. Devprayag, confluence of Bhagirathi River and Alaknanda River. Rudraprayag, confluence of Mandakini River and Alaknanda River. Nanprayag, confluence of Mandakini River and Alaknanda River. Karnprayag, confluence of Pinda River and Alaknanda River. Vishnuprayag, confluence of Dhauliganga River and Alaknanda River. 3/4 The Bhagirathi, considered to be the source stream, rises at the foot of Gangotri Glacier, at Gomukh. It finally empties into the Bay of Bengal. 3/4 Major tributaries of the Ganga River, left bank tributaries, Ramganga, Gomti, Ghagara, Gandak, Burhi Gandak, Koshi, Mahananda. Right bank tributaries, Yamuna, Tans, Karmanasa, Sone, Punpun, Falgu, Kiul, Chandan, Ajoy, Damodar, Rupnarayan. 3/4 The Ganges River flows through 28 districts in Uttar Pradesh, entering the state from Bijnor. It traverses approximately 1,140 kilometers within Uttar Pradesh before merging with the Yamuna at the Triveni Sangam in Prayagraj. State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024 11. Note: www.drishtias.com. Bulldozer Justice. Why in news? Recently, the Supreme Court of India, SC, criticized the practice of bulldozer justice, highlighting that demolishing properties based on criminal allegations against individuals or their family members violates the rule of law. Key points 3/4 Bulldozer justice refers to the practice of demolishing the property of individuals suspected of criminal activities or involvement in riots using bulldozers, often without adhering to due legal process. This practice has been reported in several Indian states, including Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Assam, and Maharashtra. Demolitions are often justified under municipal laws for encroachment or unauthorized construction. 3/4 This practice bypasses due process requirements outlined in Supreme Court judgments such as Sudama Singh and Oz vs Government of Delhi and Ajay Maken and Oz vs Union of India. 3/4 The SC has recently condemned this practice, emphasizing that demolishing properties based on accusations violates the rule of law and due process of law. The SC has invited suggestions from the parties concerned to frame appropriate pan-India guidelines on extra-legal demolitions. 3/4 An analysis has identified that procedural guidelines should be incorporated into relevant legislation and rules, structured in a phased manner with multiple checkpoints at each stage to ensure all necessary steps are followed before taking any adverse or irreversible actions. Pre-demolition phase, Z burden of proof, shift the burden of proof to the authorities to justify demolition and displacement, ensuring protection of human rights. Z notice and publicity, provide a reasoned notice with information about land records and resettlement plans, and give ample time for affected individuals to respond. Z Independent Review, an independent committee with judicial and civil society representatives 12 State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024. Note: www.drishtias.com. Should review proposed demolitions, particularly in neighborhoods. Z Engagement and planning, engage affected individuals in discussions about alternative housing and compensation, addressing the needs of vulnerable groups. Allow a minimum of 1 month between notice and demolition. During demolition, Z minimization of force, avoid the use of physical force and heavy machinery such as bulldozers. Z official presence, ensure the presence of government officials not involved in the demolition to oversee the process. Z scheduled timing, demolition times should be pre-decided to prevent surprise actions. Post-demolition, rehabilitation, Z rehabilitation, provide adequate temporary or permanent housing solutions to ensure no one is left homeless. Z grievance redressal, establish a speedy grievance redress mechanism for affected individuals to challenge demolition decisions. Z remedies, ensure remedies such as compensation, restitution, and possible return to original homes. Atal Residential Schools. Why in news? Recently, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister announced a major expansion of Atal Residential Schools to enhance educational opportunities for underprivileged students. Key points: 3 quarters. Currently, there are 18 Atal Residential Schools. The expansion will be in phases, with schools planned for 57 districts in the next academic session, extending to 350 tehsils in the third phase, 825 development blocks in the fourth phase, and Nyay Panchayat level in the fifth phase. 3 quarters school features. Named after former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the schools are designed to set a benchmark for inclusive education and to combat illiteracy and deprivation. The new schools will cater to students from classes 1 to 12 and include Bal Vatikas. Schools are directed to hold biannual meetings with parents to keep them informed. Bal Vatikas. 3 quarters Bal Vatika is an early childhood education program that aims to help children aged 3 to 6 years develop cognitively, socially, emotionally, and physically. 3 quarters The program focuses on play-based learning and is designed to create an inclusive and welcoming environment for children. Nyay Panchayat. 3 quarters A Nyay Panchayat is a judicial system in the Panchayati Raj system of India that resolves disputes at the village level. Nyay Panchayats are considered the most basic level of the Indian judicial system. 3 quarters Some of the functions of Nyay Panchayats include resolving disputes. Nyay Panchayats resolve minor civil and criminal disputes. Providing justice. Nyay Panchayats provide low-cost and quick justice. Punishing offenders. Nyay Panchayats can raise small fines and punish offenders. However, they do not imprison people. Decentralizing democracy. Nyay Panchayats help to decentralize the democratic system. Near Court awards life imprisonment in conversion case. Why in news? Recently, a special national investigation agency, Near Court in Lucknow, sentenced Islamic scholar and 11 others to life imprisonment in an illegal religious conversion case. Key points 3 quarters Charges and convictions. The convicts were charged under Section 121A, conspiring to commit certain offences against state. PCSCA Consolidation September 2024 13. Note: www.drishtiias.com. The state, Section 123, concealing with intent to facilitate a design to wage war. Section 153A, promoting enmity between different groups based on religion, of the Uttar Pradesh Prohibition of Unlawful Conversion of Religion Act, 2021. 3 quarters Arrest and allegations. Islamic scholar was arrested in 2021 by the Uttar Pradesh Anti-Terrorism Squad from Meerut for allegedly running a nationwide syndicate for illegal religious conversion. He was accused of promoting enmity, disturbing India's sovereignty and integrity, and receiving funds from international organizations to facilitate conversions. National Investigation Agency, NIA, 3 quarters The NIA is the Central Counterterrorism Law Enforcement Agency of India mandated to investigate all the offences affecting the sovereignty, security and integrity of India. It includes friendly relations with foreign states, against atomic and nuclear facilities, smuggling of arms, drugs and fake Indian currency and infiltration from across the borders. The offences under the statutory laws enacted to implement international treaties, agreements, conventions and resolutions of the United Nations, its agencies and other international organizations. 3 quarters It was constituted under the National Investigation Agency, NIA, Act, 2008. 3 quarters The agency is empowered to deal with the investigation of terror-related crimes across states without special permission from the states under written proclamation from the Ministry of Home Affairs. 3 quarters Headquarters, New Delhi. Uttar Pradesh Prohibition of Unlawful Conversion of Religion Act, 2021. 3 quarters The law contains stringent provisions with regard to fraudulent or forced conversions. 3 quarters It provides for 20 years imprisonment or life sentence if it was found that conversion had taken place under threat, promise of marriage or conspiracy. It was placed in the category of most serious crime under the bill. The bill allows any person to register in First Information Report, FIR, in cases related to religious conversion, not only parents, victims, or siblings. 3 quarters These cases would not be heard by any court below the Sessions Court. Bill has also made the crime non-bailable. Anyone wishing to convert of their own volition for the purpose of marriage must submit an application to the concerned district magistrate 2 months in advance. UP aims for investment in secure data storage. Why in news? Recently, the Uttar Pradesh government has targeted Rs. 30,000 crore investment to boost secure data storage by establishing data centers. Key points: 3/4 investment target. Uttar Pradesh aims to attract private players to set up 8 data centers with a total investment of Rs. 30,000 crore. The data centers will have a combined capacity of 900 megawatts and will be located near Noida. Companies like Hiranandani Group, Adani Group, NTT Japan, and WebWorks have launched or announced projects worth Rs. 20,000 crore, adding 600 megawatts capacity. The state has allowed data centers to draw power from 2 grids for uninterrupted supply. ZUP's amended data center policy now extends the double grid supply to 8 data center parks to attract more investment. 3/4 significance. Data centers centralize IT activities for storing, processing, and sharing information. Z India's colocation data center capacity was 977 megawatts across top 7 cities in 2023, with an additional 1.7 to 3.6 gigawatts needed by 2028 due to rapid digital adoption. 14 State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024. Note: www.drishtias.com. Offshore data storage raises security risks, exposing sensitive information, banking, social media, health, etc. to cyber attacks. Z domestic data centers will ensure enhanced security for India's growing digital data. 3/4 national data center capacity. India's under construction colocation capacity for 2024 to 2028 stands at 1.03 gigawatts, providing businesses with secure server infrastructure and high-speed network connectivity. Uttar Pradesh Data Center Policy 2021 and 3/4 capital subsidy, 7% up to Rs. 10 crore for units over 10 years, excluding land and building. 3/4 interest subsidy, 60% of annual interest, up to Rs. 50 crore for 7 years for data center parks. 3/4 land subsidy, 25 to 50% on sector rates, capped at Rs. 75 crore. 3/4 stamp duty exemption, 100% on first transaction. 50% on second. 3/4 electricity benefits, 100% duty exemption for 10 years. Dual grid power for the first 3 parks. Govind Ballabh Pant. Why in news? On the 137th birth anniversary of first Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Govind Ballabh Pant is remembered as one of the country's most prominent freedom fighters and an administrator who played a key role in shaping modern India. Key points: 3/4 brief profile. Govind Ballabh Pant is remembered as one of the country's most prominent freedom fighters and an administrator who played a key role in shaping modern India. He was the Premier of United Provinces, 1937 to 1939, First Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, 1946 to 1954, and Union Home Minister, 1955 to 1961, and was a recipient of the highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna, in 1957. 3/4 early life. Pant was born on the 10th of September 1887 in Uttarakhand, at Almora. When he was 18 years old, he started serving as a volunteer at sessions of the Indian National Congress, looking up to Gopal Krishna Gokhale and Madan Mohan Malviya as his idols. In 1907, he decided to study law. After receiving his degree, he started to practice law in Almora in 1910 and eventually moved to Kashipur. In Kashipur, he established an organization called Prem Sabha that started working towards several reforms and also saved a school from shutting down due to non-payment of taxes to the British government. 3/4 contribution in national movement. Govind Ballabh Pant joined the Congress in December 1921 and soon joined the non-cooperation movement. In 1930, he was imprisoned for organizing a salt march inspired by Gandhi's earlier actions. He was elected to the Uttar Pradesh, then known as United Provinces, Legislative Assembly as the candidate of the Swarajist Party from Nainital. He tried to bring in reforms to do away with the zamindari system. He also pleaded to the government for lowering agricultural taxes on farmers. He encouraged many cottage industries in the country and raised his voice against the coolie beggar law, which forced porters to transport the heavy luggage of British officials without any payment. Z. Pant was always against a separate electorate for minorities, saying the step would further divide communities. During the Second World War, Pant tried to conciliate between Gandhi's faction, which advocated supporting the British Crown in their war effort, and Subhash Chandra Bose's faction, which advocated taking advantage of the situation to expel the British Raj by any means necessary. State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024 15. Note: www.drishtias.com. In 1942 he was arrested again, this time for signing the Quit India resolution, and spent 3 years in Ahmednagar fort along with other members of the Congress Working Committee until March 1945. Z. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru pleaded successfully for Pant's release, on grounds of failing health. 3 quarters post-independence. After independence, Govind Ballabh Pant became the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. He worked for the upliftment of the farmers and the eradication of untouchability. After the death of Sardar Patel, Govind Ballabh Pant was made the Home Minister in the Union government. As a Home Minister, he championed the cause of Hindi as the national language or Rashtrabhasha. Gorakhpur Sainik School inaugurated. Why in news? Recently, the Vice President inaugurated the Gorakhpur Sainik School, praising its facilities and highlighting its importance for education in eastern Uttar Pradesh. Key points: 3 quarters Gorakhpur Sainik School details. First Sainik School in eastern Uttar Pradesh. Second Sainik School managed by the Uttar Pradesh Sainik School Society. Fifth Sainik School in Uttar Pradesh. Others are in Jhansi, Amethi, Mainpuri, run by Defence Ministry, and Lucknow, run by Uttar Pradesh government. 3 quarters The Vice President also visited Gorakhdham Temple in Gorakhpur. The Gorakhdham Temple in Gorakhpur is dedicated to Guru Gorakshnath, a prominent saint of the Nath sect, and serves as a major pilgrimage site and spiritual center. The temple features traditional Hindu architectural elements with a prominent central dome and detailed interiors. Sainik Schools. 3 quarters Sainik Schools are residential institutions offering public school education and are affiliated with the Central Board of Secondary Education, CBSE, New Delhi. 3 quarters funding. These schools receive financial support from both central and state governments. 3 quarters establishment. Launched in 1961, Sainik schools were designed to prepare students academically, physically, and mentally for entry into the National Defence Academy. 3 quarters governance. They are managed by the Sainik Schools Society under the Ministry of Defence, established under the Societies Registration Act 21 of 1860. UP boosts football development. Why in news? Recently, the Uttar Pradesh government announced significant plans to enhance football infrastructure and promotion across the state. Key points. 3 quarters UP government to build 18 new football stadiums across all state commissariats. 3 quarters football grounds to be developed in all 827 blocks of the state to encourage more tournaments. 3 quarters KD Singh Babu Stadium, Lucknow was renovated in 19 days to host the Kolkata Derby. The Kolkata Derby is a football match between East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, two of the most popular teams in India. The rivalry between these two clubs is over 100 years old and is considered one of the biggest local sporting rivalries in the world. The derby is known for its intense action and passionate fans. 3 quarters UP aligns with Khelo India initiative, ensuring government backing for sports development in the state. 16 State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024. Note: www.drishtias.com. Khelo India Initiative 3 quarters Khelo India is a scheme envisioned by the Prime Minister in 2017-18 to give a platform to grassroots athletes and build sports infrastructure across India, resulting in turning India into a sporting nation. 3 quarters The Khelo India scheme is the flagship central sector scheme of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Operation Bhaiya. Why in news? Recently, the Forest Department launched Operation Bhaiya, Wolf, after a series of attacks by a pack of wolves in Messi Tehsil, which resulted in the deaths of 6 children and a woman, and around 30 injuries over the past 45 days. Key points. 3 quarters Operation Bhaiya aims to capture and neutralize a pack of wolves responsible for recent attacks. 3 quarters Technologies and strategies, utilization of drone cameras and thermal drone mapping to locate and track the wolves. Approval has been obtained for tranquilizing the wolves to safely capture them. 3/4 The Chief Wildlife Warden can allow hunting of a Schedule 1 wild animal if it poses a danger to humans by issuing a written order explaining the reasons. 3/4 Wolf. It is classified as least concern by the IUCN, listed in Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act, 1972, and included in Appendix I of CITES. State PCSCA Consolidation September 2024 17. Note: www.drishtias.com. 3/4 Schedules in WPA, 1972, Schedule 1, protects endangered species with strict penalties. Prohibits hunting except in extreme cases, e.g., black buck, snow leopard. Schedule 2, high protection and trade prohibition for certain species, e.g., Assamese macaque, Indian cobra. Schedules 3 and IV protects non-endangered species with lesser penalties for violations, e.g., cheetal, flamingo. Schedule 5 lists vermin species that can be hunted, e.g., common crows, rats. Schedule 6 regulates cultivation and trade of specified plants, requiring prior permission, e.g., blue vanda, kut. Model Solar Village. Why in news? Every village in Ayodhya with a population of 5,000 will be developed as a model solar village, with a goal of installing 50,000 solar homes. Key points. 3/4 The PM Solar Home Scheme aims to turn Ayodhya into a solar city by equipping 50,000 homes with solar panels. The Model Solar Village scheme will select one village of 5,000 residents from a list of 42 to promote widespread installation of solar panels. 3/4 Each family for 1 kilowatt solar panel will incur a cost of Rs. 65,000 with Rs. 30,000 subsidized by the central government and Rs. 15,000 by the state government. Farmers installing solar pumps will receive extra grants under the Kusum scheme. 3/4 The central government has allocated Rs. 1 crore for each model solar village, which will be transferred to the Gram Panchayat to fund its development. What is PM Kusum? 3/4 About. The PM Kusum is a flagship scheme initiated by the Indian government in 2019 with the primary objective of transforming the agricultural sector by promoting the adoption of solar energy solutions. It operates on a demand-driven approach. Capacities are allocated based on the demands received from various states and union territories, UTs. Through various components and financial support, PM Kusum envisions achieving a significant solar power capacity addition of 30.8 gigawatts by March 31, 2026. 3/4 Objectives of PM Kusum: reduce the farm sector's reliance on diesel. The scheme aims to reduce the dependence on diesel for irrigation by encouraging the use of solar-powered pumps and other renewable energy sources. It also seeks to increase farmers' income by reducing irrigation costs through the use of solar pumps and enabling them to sell surplus solar power to the grid. Water and energy security for farmers. By providing access to solar pumps and promoting solar-based community irrigation projects, the scheme aims to enhance water and energy security for farmers. Curbing environmental pollution. Through the adoption of clean and renewable solar energy, the scheme aims to mitigate environmental pollution caused by conventional energy sources. 3/4 Components. Component A, setting up of 10,000 megawatts of decentralized ground, stilt-mounted solar power plants on barren, fallow, pasture, marshy, cultivable land of farmers. Component B, installation of 20 lakh standalone solar pumps in off-grid areas. Component C, solarization of 15 lakh grid-connected agriculture pumps through individual pump solarization and feeder-level solarization. Key points details. Summary. Key points details. Summary.